On the day the sect held the spirit beast selection ceremony, I snatched the white drake intended for my junior brother, Ethan Shaw. My fellow disciples tried to reason with me. Senior brother Sincere, you're powerful. This white drake has mixed blood, it's not worthy of you. Why not let junior brother Ethan have it? They didn't know squat. In my previous life I chose the pure-blooded azure phoenix Sylvana Ashworth. As a result, I ended up paving the way for Ethan. Abandoned by Sylvana, I died in the jaws of demonic beasts, watching helplessly as she shielded Ethan and flew away. This life, I'm letting him have Sylvana. Let him deal with the trouble of raising her. Every 10 years, the beast-taming sect arranges for inner disciples to form contracts with spirit beasts. As the orphan of a sect elder and exceptionally capable myself, I naturally got the first pick. The spirit beasts in the sect are gathered from far and wide, their potential varying greatly. In this batch, the most outstanding was undoubtedly the Azure Phoenix. She radiated nobility. Even with a restraint collar around her neck, she held her head high, looking down on U.S. cultivators. Elder Rowan, the deacon elder, intended to assign the Azure Phoenix to me, but Sylvana was aloof and refused to take a single step towards me, rolling her eyes skyward in defiance. It wasn't until Ethan appeared, cradling a listless little white drake, that she finally lowered her noble head. This little white drake wasn't Ethan's first choice either. He had only recently entered the inner sect, and technically should have waited longer to choose a spirit beast. But he insisted on participating in this ceremony with the senior disciples. Due to his insufficient cultivation, he could only take what others left behind. Forming a contract with a spirit beast meant choosing a battle partner. While senior brothers and sisters might usually indulge him, no one could afford to consider his feelings at a time like this. Seeing him cradle the little white drake, tears welling up as if he'd suffered a great injustice, coupled with Sylvana's clear preference for him, I was suddenly cast as the villain tearing them apart. Elder Rowan looked awkward and could only reprimand Ethan. Your foundation is unstable. Even if the Azure Phoenix shows interest now, you won't be able to handle her later. Who would have thought? I stood up, thanked the elder, and walked over to Ethan. He bit his lip, explaining, Senior brother, I know I'm not qualified to compete with you, but I feel that choosing a spirit beast shouldn't just consider the cultivator's needs, but also— His words trailed off as his eyes widened. I lifted the near-lifeless white drake from his hands and said to Elder Rowan with a smile, Bohan finds this little drake quite pleasing to the eye. Since the Azure Phoenix is unwilling to acknowledge me, I'll do the honorable thing and swap with my junior brother. My fellow disciples said I'd gone mad. Senior brother, you're strong. This white drake has mixed blood. Just give it to junior brother, but I knew better. This Azure Phoenix was no saint. My name is Sincere Clark. I grew up in the beast-taming sect. When I was 7, I lost my parents, watching helplessly as they were torn apart by demonic beasts. If Master Alistair hadn't arrived just in time to save me, my family would have been reunited in a beast's stomach. Seeing my pitiful state, the sect leader took me in as his disciple. Because of this, I received considerable favor within the sect. In my past life, the scene played out similarly. Sylvana was arrogant, unwilling to form a contract with me. Having never faced such rejection, I found her haughtiness intriguing. I was determined to tame her. As the sect leader's disciple, I was expected to set an example for my juniors. Taming Sylvana would elevate the sect's strength. I poured countless rare cultivation resources into Sylvana. The spirit pills and wondrous medicines distributed to each disciple were limited. Relying solely on sect provisions was far from enough to raise an Azure Phoenix. I risked my life accepting commissions to slay man-eating demonic beasts, spirit beasts that had fallen to demonic influence, losing their minds and retaining only the instinct to attack. Yet, when I returned to the sect, battered and bruised, Sylvana pretended not to see me. Only when I produced spirit herbs or elixirs would she nod, approach, and consume them as if it were her due. I spent 10 years helping Sylvana break through her beast form and manifest as a human. She had features as fine as a painting, a figure like jade. Standing there, she resembled a celestial being, albeit one with an arrogant expression, unwilling to exchange more than a few words with me. Only when she needed me to search for precious ingredients would she command me like a master addressing a servant. Back then, I thought it was normal for a pure-blooded spirit beast to have a temper. I believed Sylvana would eventually acknowledge me, willing to fight alongside me so I wouldn't have to face those ferocious demonic beasts alone anymore. Until one day I accidentally saw Sylvana linking arms with Ethan, her eyes filled with indescribable tenderness. She skipped around him playfully, even placing a flower crown she'd woven on his head. I snapped. No one could endure having their sincere efforts betrayed like that. Burning with jealousy, I happened upon a junior brother riding past on his white tiger. Seeing the pair frolicking in the distance, he remarked, "Senior brother, you shouldn't ask junior brother Ethan to look after Sylvana when you're away on missions. Look, she's practically his now." I froze. "When did I ever ask him to look after Sylvana?" I demanded. He looked confused. "Senior brother, every time you leave the mountain, junior brother Ethan comes to see Sylvana. That's what he told us." My vision went black. I was out there risking my life, and someone was raiding my home base behind my back. "Doesn't he have his own spirit beast?" I raged. "Why is he trying to steal mine?" The junior brother pursed his lips. "You mean that white drake? It died the second year. It hit me then. For 10 years I had indulged Sylvana, not forcing her into a contract. Exactly 10 years had passed. Ethan's spirit beast was dead. He just needed to wait for the next sec contract ceremony to smoothly claim Sylvana. How ridiculous I was spending 10 years paving the way for someone else. I'm no saint from a storybook. I started deliberately targeting Ethan. There's no point hiding it, jealousy fueled me. I truly hated him for stealing Sylvana. When I faced him, my heart was black. My actions, however, enraged Sylvana. To punish me, she lured me to the back mountain, then broke the seals there. The demonic beasts sealed within, sensing freedom, swarmed out. Among the beasts sealed in the back mountain was Ignis, a fallen candle dragon. Forget me. The entire beast-taming sect faced annihilation. As a demonic beast tore off my leg, I desperately looked back for help, only to see Sylvana spreading her wings, shielding Ethan as they fled the sect. This life, I'm curious to see how Sylvana will manage to achieve human form without me bankrolling her, and how Ethan will manage to feed this gold-digging parasite. Back to the present, seeing he couldn't persuade me, Elder Rowan relented. Still, he felt giving the Azure Phoenix to a new inner disciple with an unstable foundation was a waste. Unfortunately, Sylvana, as if she'd eaten centipede dung and toad piss, clung to Ethan's side and refused to be pulled away. Pure-blooded spirit beasts were rare finds, appearing perhaps once a century. Afraid of harming her, Elder Rowan gave Ethan a long look, then waved his hand, signaling the disciples to form the arrays for the contract bonding. Once contracted, a spirit beast is bound to its master. If it dares to harm its master, it will suffer a backlash. Seeing their contract formed, the white drake wrapped herself tightly around my arm with all her might, as if terrified I'd change my mind and abandon her. Ethan, having secured Sylvana, was naturally smug. Seeing the white drake clinging to me, he couldn't help blurting out, "Senior brother and this drake seem truly fated. She will surely help you achieve great things in the future." His words reeked of someone who got a sweet deal and was still complaining. Before I could even open my mouth, disgruntled junior sisters and brothers spoke up for me. "Junior brother, watch your tongue, lest it gets twisted. If senior brother hadn't covered for you, how would it be your turn to contract the Azure Phoenix?" Having been in the beast-taming sect for years, as the senior brother, my seniority and reputation were unchallenged from top to bottom. If I had obtained Sylvana, the disciples would have accepted it willingly. But for Ethan, a newly inducted junior, to snatch such a prize left them utterly disgruntled. Seeing Ethan being criticized, Sylvana anxiously hopped around. But anxiety was useless. A contracted spirit beast shares its master's spiritual power, but Ethan had only just developed his spirit root. He had hardly any power to share. This was probably the first time in 2 lifetimes that Sylvana had suffered such a setback. It's okay. Hardship is something you get used to after tasting it enough. Meanwhile, the white drake on my arm, seeing I had no intention of abandoning her, finally relaxed and fainted. I lived in a small courtyard halfway up the mountain, the former home of my parents and me. After their passing, Master Alistair forbade anyone else from occupying it, leaving it to me. Back in my courtyard, I finally began to study the white drake. She was tiny, seemingly only a few decades old, probably just reaching adulthood. Yet she was slightly different from the flood dragons I knew. Drakes typically favored water, had snake-like tails and no horns. This white drake also lacked horns, but her tail was fish-like, with fins, probably a hybrid of a flood dragon and a mermaid. My courtyard had a spirit spring. As soon as the white drake entered the water, she instantly revived, diving and surfacing, greedily absorbing the spiritual energy in the water. "You're quite carefree," I chuckled. "Aren't you afraid I'll poison you to get a better spirit beast?" The white drake froze, her tiny bean-like eyes staring at me. Then she spat at me. I flicked her forehead. "Rest and recover properly. I could afford to raise Sylvana. What's a little drake like you?" The next morning, I opened my eyes. Something felt wrong. I stiffly turned my head and found someone sleeping beside me. A face of translucent beauty pressed close, skin like white jade seeming to bathe in the dawn light. A gentle breeze stirred her dreamlike long hair. Her closed eyes were like deep, clear spring pools, hinting at endless mystery and tenderness. A beauty by my side didn't stop a cold sweat from breaking out. She had managed to get close while I slept without alerting me. Her cultivation level was definitely above mine. Perhaps sensing my tension, the woman beside me slowly woke up. I immediately shrank into a corner. "Who are you? This is beast-taming sect territory. You'd better not cause trouble," she sat up. Only then did I see she was wearing the clothes I had prepared long ago for a spirit beast's human transformation, a jade-colored embroidered wide-sleeved silk robe that perfectly complemented her exquisite form. Beneath thick long lashes were a pair of golden serpent eyes. The answer was obvious. "White drake?" I asked tentatively. She curved her lips into a smile, revealing sharp canine teeth, and flicked my forehead in return. "How rude. I have a name. Victoria." Victoria Drake, it turned out, had encountered my eccentric third martial uncle, Barnaby Thorne, while fleeing enemies. She had transformed into a white drake, hoping he would save her. Coincidentally, Uncle Barnaby loved picking up scrap. I was speechless. Victoria being able to take human form meant her cultivation was significant. The person who injured her so badly must be even stronger. I felt like crying. "Great balls of fire, are your enemies going to come after me now? What kind of luck is this? Just got rid of the Sylvana mess, and now another troublemaker. Turns out I'm just a scrap picker." Victoria pressed closer, a seductive smile on her face. "You and I have already formed a contract. You are master, I am servant. Please cultivate diligently, master, and don't hold me back." Victoria certainly had skills. My spirit root was water-attuned, perfectly compatible with her. She taught me a method for spirit beasts to absorb water-based spiritual energy, which proved remarkably effective. Even Master Alistair praised my rapid progress. Usually I would practice my cultivation squatting in the spirit spring while she supervised, lounging on the peach tree by the spring. A gentle breeze would blow, scattering crimson petals across the pool. Amidst the falling blossoms, I'd look up at Victoria, finding her dozing with narrowed eyes, her hair stirring in the wind. Her jade-like skin shimmered faintly with scales in the sunlight, her collar slightly open, offering a rather captivating view that made it hard to look away. Truly an enchantress. Before I could admire her further, a mood killer arrived. Ethan Shaw was poking his head around my courtyard gate. "Seen your brother Sincere?" I sighed and rose from the spring. Victoria gracefully slid down the tree and draped a cloak over my shoulders. Ethan froze upon seeing Victoria. Only when I asked, "What do you want?" did he snap back to reality. He didn't answer my question, instead asking about Victoria. "Who is this?" I took Victoria's hand, smiling broadly. "Oh, you know her. The little white drake from the contract ceremony. Junior brother, you even said we were fated." A flash of regret crossed Ethan's eyes. I couldn't be bothered to psychoanalyze him. What did you really come here for? This should be the time for disciples' practice. Ethan seemed hesitant, fidgeting and unwilling to speak. Only when I threatened to kick him out did he finally explain. After hearing his purpose, I sneered. "You mean you want me to help you raise Silvana?" As the words left my mouth, I felt my hand squeezed tightly. Turning, I met Victoria's displeased gaze. I gave her a reassuring smile before turning back to Ethan. "If you can't afford to keep the divine bird, figure it out yourself. I don't owe you anything." Ethan became agitated. "How can you say you don't owe me, senior brother? That was unexpected." I raised an eyebrow, inviting him to continue. Ethan wrung his hands. 6 months ago, at the contract ceremony, senior brother snatched the white drake and dumped Silvana on me. How can you wash your hands of it so cleanly? What a shameless argument. It was true, though, in the past 6 months there had been no word of Ethan leaving the mountain to search for elixirs. He must have finally realized he couldn't possibly support Silvana's cultivation needs on his own. Besides, every cultivator's progress was built on countless precious resources. If he gave all his pills to Silvana, his own cultivation would stagnate. Disciples who entered the inner sect with him had long surpassed him. Only he was still slowly inching along in the chi refining stage. But what did that have to do with me? He babbled on. "I think senior brother should take responsibility for Silvana. For a divine bird like her to be unable to break through is no good for the beast-taming sect either. Senior brother grew up in the sect. Even for the sake of the sect, you should help Silvana break through." I couldn't be bothered arguing further. With a wave of my hand, I led Victoria back into the house. "Junior brother, if you can't raise her, then dissolve the contract with Silvana yourself. Leave the resources for those who need them. I imagine Elder Rowan would be quite happy to take Silvana off your hands." Of course, he wouldn't do that. This junior brother of mine had ambitions far exceeding his grasp. Some time passed. I broke through from the foundation establishment stage to the golden core stage. Coincidentally, the artisan pavilion acquired a rare 9-tailed spirit fox. Master Alistair traded 2 top-grade magical artifacts for it, and now tasked Elder Maeve Will-O-Wisp and me with escorting the fox back to the beast-taming sect. Elder Maeve was 300 years older than me but acted like a child. I had to coax and persuade her before she reluctantly handed the fox over to the beast caretaker hall. Since she was being so cooperative, I pretended not to hear her muttering about Master Alistair being a skinflint you couldn't pluck a feather from. After all, Elder Maeve had taken an immediate liking to the fox, but Master Alistair had adamantly refused to give it to her. Before returning to her own dwelling, she suddenly covered her mouth, stifling a giggle. "Little Bokin, your little snake is really clingy." With that, she mounted her crane, Pip, and flew off. Not ascending, mind you, she literally had a crane. I didn't understand her meaning at first. Only as I walked up the mountain path did I see a figure leaning against a tree far ahead. Victoria. The figure by the tree didn't move, looking somewhat angry. As I approached, she whipped around, grabbed my arm, and pressed herself tightly against me, forcing me to meet her gaze. Fury burned in her golden serpent eyes. "Sincere Clark, have I done anything wrong lately? Why are you trying to push me onto someone else?" Her question completely baffled me. "What are you talking about? That man who came looking for you the other day showed up at the courtyard today, insisting you sent him to take care of me. Do you regret forming a contract with me? Got cocky just because you reached golden core?" My heart clenched. Ethan Shaw. Not satisfied with having Silvana, he was pulling the same stunt this life too. Before I could explain, Victoria's pupils narrowed into thin slits. She leaned closer, burying her face in my neck, and flicked her tongue lightly against my skin, sending a shiver down my spine. Then she bared her fangs and whispered near my ear, "The scent of fox. Sincere Clark, you've already found a new pet?" She stepped back, glaring at me resentfully. After a moment's thought, a faint smile appeared. "But it doesn't matter. Once I eat that fox, you'll only have me." I slapped the back of her head. She rubbed it, shocked. "You hit me? For her?" I grabbed her arm and started marching towards Gloomfang Glen, the inner disciples' residential area, scolding her as we went. "That's Master Alistair's nine-tailed fox. If you dare touch her, I'll skin you." Victoria stopped struggling and let me pull her along meekly. Because many disciples were still at the training hall, Gloomfang Glen was rather deserted. Only a few juniors looked surprised to see me arrive suddenly. After brief greetings, they informed me that Ethan had taken Sylvana to the back mountain. I frowned. I hadn't interfered with Sylvana at all this life. What were those two doing in the back mountain again? Curiosity piqued. I followed them, only to find Ethan furiously berating Sylvana, while the dumb bird just stood nearby, incessantly scratching the ground with her claws. He ranted, "Don't look at me like that, I haven't wronged you. How many spirit pills have you eaten? I haven't even used any myself. I gave them all to you, what more do you want? You want me to go down the mountain searching for precious ingredients? Are you crazy? I'm barely in Q refining if you want me dead. Just say so." Sincere's white drake transformed long ago, and you can't even speak human words to me. Stop scratching words on the ground. I don't want to see them. I scoffed inwardly. Sylvana truly felt deeply for Ethan, it seemed. Back then, she wouldn't even spare me a glance for 10 years. Now, she was using her claws to write messages for Ethan. What a contrast. But I was here to cause trouble, not reminisce. I walked over. "Junior brother, I've been looking for you." At the sudden appearance of someone, Sylvana quickly erased the writing on the ground, terrified we'd see. Seeing me arrive with Victoria, Ethan looked flustered, his eyes fixed on Victoria, completely ignoring Sylvana, with whom he'd just been arguing. "Senior brother Sincere, what do you need?" "It's not that I need anything. Rather, I wanted to ask what business you have with my spirit beast." Hearing this, Sylvana's feathers ruffled slightly. She was angry. Ethan hadn't expected me to find out so quickly. He stammered, "And no, senior brother, you misunderstand. I was just looking for you." He forgot that while Sylvana couldn't talk, Victoria certainly could. Victoria rested her head on my shoulder, looking clingy and aggrieved. "He's lying. He clearly told me that you, Master, snatched me away, that I was supposed to be his spirit beast." I tilted my head. "And what did you do?" She smirked, her gaze towards Ethan filled with mockery. "He trespassed on Master's territory. I fought him. He's too weak. I didn't even need to use spiritual power to force him out of the courtyard." I patted her cheek approvingly. I stood up, sneering. "Junior brother, if I recall correctly, you didn't want Victoria back then. Victoria was heavily injured that day. If she had truly ended up in your hands, she probably wouldn't have survived the second year." Ethan instinctively retorted, "I didn't. I would have treated her well." Hearing this, the crest feathers of the azure phoenix beside him bristled completely. She looked absolutely furious. Ethan finally realized something was wrong and snapped, "You're trying to drive a wedge between me and Sylvana." I stepped forward, patted Ethan's shoulder and warned him, "Junior brother, you're still too green. If there's a next time, we'll meet in the disciplinary hall." The disciplinary hall was the sex tribunal. Disciples who erred would face punishment from the elders there. Severe cases could result in the forced dissolution of their spirit beast contract and expulsion from the sect. No elder would tolerate attempts to steal another's contracted spirit beast through trickery. He couldn't afford that gamble. Besides, his more pressing concern now should be how to appease Sylvana. That bird looked ready to explode. On the way back, I felt considerably better. Some of the resentment festering from my past life had finally dissipated. Victoria, however, looked listless. I asked her to transform into her drake form and carry me for a bit, but she refused outright, turning her back dismissively, head held high, snout practically pointing at the sky. Only when we reached the courtyard did she grab my arm. "What's the deal between you and Sylvana?" I didn't hide it. There was indeed a past connection, but my ending was tragic. Do you want to hear it? She turned her head away, transforming into a white drake and coiling around my neck. "I don't want to hear it. I'm much stronger than that broken bird. There's no way you'll contract her again." I stroked her cool scales. "Don't worry, I won't have any other spirit beasts. Since you've given me your unique reliance, it's only fair I return it with the same vow." My cultivation level had just stabilized, and I intended to relax for a while. Victoria wasn't having it. "Sincere Clark, your progress is too slow. Sharing your spiritual power is such a drag," I protested. "Even Master says my progress is divine speed, that I'm a prodigy among young cultivators." And so this prodigy was constantly urged by her to accept missions and seek opportunities. Unlike my previous life, this time all the heavenly materials and earthly treasures were invested in myself. During this period, Master Finchley, the head of the Beast Caretaker Hall, claimed he dreamed of attaining immortality, then kindly entrusted the position of Hallmaster to me before bidding farewell to Master Alistair and leaving. Time flows differently for cultivators. 10 years passed in a flash. I had smoothly transitioned from early to mid-golden core stage. One day, Elder Maeve announced in the training grounds that Master Alistair had reached the tribulation stage, hoping to boost the disciples' morale. But then she frowned and whispered to me, "We originally thought that with Sylvana's help, the sect's strength would reach a new level. But even today, there's no sign of Sylvana breaking through to her human form." A while ago, the elders couldn't wait any longer and investigated Sylvana's condition, thinking we could pool resources to help her break through. Who knew? The gap was just too large. I chimed in. I suspected as much. The beast-taming sect wasn't exactly a prestigious major sect. Firstly, training spirit beasts was time-consuming and laborious. Secondly, both humans and beasts required spirit stones and elixirs, draining the sect's resources, leaving little surplus. That's why few people sought to join the beast-taming sect. We had hoped to build our reputation through Sylvana, but her breakthrough was perpetually delayed. Remembering the catastrophe the sect faced in my past life, I had even considered eliminating her beforehand. But whenever I tried to tell others about my past life, it was like hitting a barrier. They couldn't hear anything. Under these circumstances, I didn't dare act unilaterally. Eliminating a spirit beast like Sylvana without just cause or proof would be tantamount to isolating myself within the sect and destroying the sect's future prospects. I could only try to watch her, suppress her, and play things by ear. The sect took in a new batch of disciples. Supervising their training always left me mentally and physically exhausted. The novices would stare with wide eyes every day, looking earnest, but I could tell from their expressions they just thought I was barking nonsense. Watching them scatter cheerfully like chicks, I became increasingly convinced the previous Hallmaster's dream of immortality was a fabrication. He just wanted to dump the responsibility. Master Alistair was an optimist. The old man held the 9-tailed fox in his arms, a white-headed eagle perched on his shoulder, and a 7-colored spirit deer tethered to his waist. Pointing at the dispersing novices, he declared confidently, "Look, aren't the little brothers and sisters I recruited for you adorable?" I was truly exasperated. "Please just go face your tribulation. Stop making more work for me." Since I had no time for Victoria, she went off to find her own entertainment. After not seeing her for a while, she came running back to the courtyard one day, wearing a blatant "I've got gossip" expression, crashing right into me. "What are you doing?" I asked, annoyed. Ignoring her headache, she said teasingly, "Come on, I'll take you to see some drama." The drama turned out to be watching Ethan argue with Sylvana. More accurately, it was a loudspeaker arguing with a mute. "Don't blame everything on me. It wasn't me who forced you to come to the beast-taming sect. Wasn't it you who said the beast-taming sect was beneficial for cultivation? How was I supposed to know the sect only gives out so few spirit pills each month? That's not my fault. The elders were originally going to give you to Sincere Clark. You were the one who gave him the cold shoulder. He just didn't want you anymore. He, as the sect leader's personal disciple, he can get any precious resource he wants. If you had followed him back then, you would have transformed long ago. I unconsciously clenched my fists. So that was it. I had always wondered why Sylvana was so set on Ethan. They knew each other beforehand, which meant, no matter who helped her cultivate, no matter who formed a contract with her, she ultimately intended to kill them and go to Ethan. Because there were only two ways to break a contract: the master willingly releases the beast or the master dies. But I hadn't formed a contract with Sylvana in my past life. Why did she still need to kill me? An idea flashed through my mind like lightning. After Sylvana transformed, the beast-taming sect held no more value for them. To ensure another major sect would take them in, what better excuse than the destruction of their own sect? A transformed azure phoenix, an orphan from a destroyed sect. No sect would refuse such powerful additions, especially without the stigma of poaching disciples. What a vicious plan, burning the bridge after crossing. Clearly, Victoria didn't grasp these complexities. She was draped over a tree branch in her drake form, looking utterly thrilled. Sigh. Maybe I should take some time off to accept more missions. Look what boredom has done to the kid, scouring the entire sect for gossip every day. Still, I was glad she brought me here. Otherwise, I would have continued living with the guilt, believing I was responsible for the sect's destruction in my past life, believing that if I hadn't targeted Ethan, Sylvana wouldn't have come after me, and the sect would have been fine. Sylvana, Ethan, this life, it's time you paid your debts. Unexpectedly, before I could figure out how to deal with them, an uninvited guest arrived at my courtyard. Sylvana stood guard outside my gate, her eyes fixed intently on Victoria, who was leisurely soaking in the spring. Victoria, being provocative, deliberately took human form to mock Sylvana's slow cultivation progress. Seeing Sylvana, my expression soured. As a spirit beast, shouldn't you be practicing with Ethan? What are you doing here? Victoria chimed in with sarcasm. Yeah, my brother Sincere spoils me, that's why he doesn't make me train. Why aren't you accompanying your master? She was decades older than me. How she managed to call me brother without cringing, I'll never know. I bypassed Sylvana and entered the courtyard, checking if my spirit spring had been steeped into green tea by Victoria's soaking. I chuckled at her. Where did you learn such nonsense? Victoria rose from the pool, dripping wet, and pressed herself against me intimately. I just want this broken bird to know there's no place for her in our relationship. I tilted my head at her. What relationship do we have? Her golden serpent eyes gleamed with a captivating light. Isn't that entirely up to you? There was a noise behind me. As I started to turn, Victoria cupped my face. That broken bird stormed off in a huff. Can you just ignore her? I at least need to know why she came, I sighed. That broken bird has a black heart, she gritted her teeth. I'm worried she's up to something. She regrets it, doesn't she? Doesn't want to follow that junior brother of yours anymore, Victoria guessed. Lately, rumors about Ethan had been circulating within the sect. Annoyingly, I was dragged into them too. Anyone with eyes could see that Ethan and his spirit beast had fallen out. Sylvana, already conspicuous, had initially garnered Ethan much attention. Now, her refusal to enter his room and her defiance of his commands had embarrassed Ethan repeatedly in the training grounds. Their discord was out in the open. Why was I involved? Because while Sylvana resisted Ethan's control, she was simultaneously fawning over me. Whenever I appeared, Sylvana would gravitate towards me. If looks could kill, I'd have been slain by Ethan 10,000 times over. Elder Maeve, always eager to stir up trouble, teased, Buckchen, doesn't Sylvana look like a heroine in a chasing the husband through the crematorium drama? Ignored you at first, now realizes how good you are and is trying to win you back. As she said this, Victoria was coiled around my neck. If I hadn't reacted quickly, Elder Maeve's crane, Pip, might have met an unfortunate end. Elder Maeve clutched Pip, exclaiming, "How terrifying," but her eyes showed no fear, only amusement as she continued to fan the flames. Anyway, he can't afford to raise Sylvana. I could go negotiate with him, compensate him later with a spirit beast he can handle, and have Sylvana transferred to you. Pip, Elder Maeve's crane, couldn't stand it anymore and transformed into a cute little girl. She covered Elder Maeve's mouth, face pleading, "Shut up." You seeing her usual ride take human form was quite a picture. I restrained Victoria. "Thanks, but no thanks. Victoria's enough for me." Victoria rubbed against my neck contentedly. Elder Maeve expressed deep regret, then turned serious. "Ethan hasn't broken through the Chihuahua refining stage in 10 years. The elders have decided to have him take Sylvana down the mountain for experiential training. Better than staying cooped up in the sect. I knew this was Master Alistair and the elders protecting me. After all, anyone involved in snatching a fellow disciple's spirit beast would attract trouble. It seemed they had given up on cultivating Sylvana. This was also thanks to the terrifying combat prowess Victoria had displayed. The Drake lineage was known for being fierce fighters. Together, she and I could even hold our own against nascent soul stage elders like Elder Rowan. This was good. Ethan taking Sylvana down the mountain would give me at least a decade's respite, enough time to reinforce the seals on the back mountain, just in case Sylvana hadn't changed her ways. In the council hall, Ethan was furious upon hearing the sect wanted him to go training down the mountain. Although the sect wasn't wealthy, it never mistreated its disciples. Ethan, formerly a rogue cultivator, was reluctant to face the hardships of the outside world after finally finding sanctuary within a sect. He even suspected it was my idea, aimed at driving him away so that after some accident befell him, I could claim Sylvana rightfully. In front of all the elders, Ethan adamantly refused to leave. He declared, "If Senior Brother Sincere wants Sylvana, just say so as his junior brother. How could I refuse? But if I give Sylvana to Senior Brother, shouldn't Senior Brother give Victoria to me? Trading a mixed-blood white drake for a pure-blooded divine bird. Senior Brother still comes out ahead." Before any other elder could speak, Master Alistair immediately refused. "Ah, little disciple Ethan, you just take good care of Sylvana. We'll politely decline that." Interesting suggestion. This was all relayed to me later. While they were talking with Ethan, I was with the beast caretaker hallmaster, investigating the strange disappearance of spirit beasts. Unclaimed spirit beasts, or newly captured ones still wild, were kept in the beast caretaker hall for a period. But yesterday, 2 spirit rabbits and a unicorn had vanished into thin air. The hallmaster was tearful. "Before I left yesterday, I clearly reinforced the gate with a spell I should have sensed any disturbance, but yesterday, I felt absolutely nothing." Victoria stood behind me, arms crossed. "It wasn't a demonic beast. Their aura isn't here." I surveyed the surroundings. The beast caretaker hall was carved into the mountainside, protected by restrictive formations. Earth-done talismans and mountain-piercing techniques wouldn't work here. Only those carrying the sect's insignia could enter. To steal 3 spirit beasts undetected, the culprit must be someone very familiar with the beast-taming sect. Or someone from the beast-taming sect. Realization dawned. I hesitantly asked the hallmaster, Master Finchley, "Do spirit beasts kill each other?" Master Finchley shrieked, "What terrifying things are you saying? Spirit beasts have awakened intelligence. How could they do something so horrible?" He then turned to soothe his own spirit beast. Oh, little treasure is scared. Let's not listen, okay? Brother Bokan is telling ghost stories." Victoria leaned closer, whispering in my ear, "Humans prey on their own kind. So do spirit beasts. I've heard of a demonic cultivation method for spirit beasts. Want to hear about it?" Her words sent shivers down my spine. Wild spirit beasts didn't have access to elixirs. For cultivation, the best supplement was the beast core of other spirit beasts. 10 years ago, Victoria had nearly died at the hands of such a malevolent spirit beast. The higher the cultivation level of the beast whose core is taken, Victoria explained, the faster the malevolent spirit beast cultivates. Having tasted the benefits, this beast will definitely come back. We set an ambush in the beast caretaker hall that night, but all remained quiet. I comforted Master Finchley. It might not have been a spirit beast. Get some rest first. We'll stand guard again tonight. But as soon as I left the hall, a disciple rushed over. Hall Master Trouble at Gloomfang Glen, a bad feeling washed over me. Victoria transformed into her drake form and carried me straight to Gloomfang Glen. The moment I landed, Victoria's golden serpent eyes narrowed sharply. The scent of blood. We didn't even need to go inside to hear the heart-wrenching sobs. It was one of the new disciples I had taught Timothy. I remembered he had brought his own spirit beast when joining the sect, a three-tailed fox named Flicker. Usually it was a fluffy, delightful bundle curled up in the sun. Now Timothy cradled a bloody mess of fur, wailing in agony. Elder Maeve was already handling the situation. Seeing me, she first asked about the beast caretaker hall, then said, "Your guess was likely correct." The three-tailed fox indeed had its belly cut open, its beast core removed. A single fatal blow. It didn't even have time to make a sound. Its master only realized when he felt the contract break and rushed out to find it. Too late, unfortunately. My heart tightened. For some reason, I instinctively looked for Sylvana. She stood obediently beside Ethan, looking perfectly reconciled. Suddenly, Victoria whispered in my ear, "Stop looking. It was her." "How do you know?" "I've encountered malevolent spirit beasts before. This bird has the same aura." I reported this to Master Alistair, leaving the decision to him. However, he advised against alerting the enemy. "Catch the thief red-handed. Just keep an eye on her." He spoke with stern righteousness, every bit the venerable immortal. "Master," I said, "aren't you suffocating keeping all your spirit beasts cooped up in your dwelling?" Master Alistair's abode was on the mountain peak, amidst the clouds. Viewed from above now, it resembled a bizarre farm. The courtyard echoed with an incessant chorus of dogs barking, cats meowing, cows mooing, and sheep bleating. There were even men, women, and children in human form surrounding Victoria, asking what breed her parents were. Master Alistair retorted stubbornly, "Not stuffy at all. My spirit beasts enjoy being with me. Oh, that crimson flamehound you just brought back." Relieved itself inside. "Could you clean that up for your master?" he replied. "In your dreams, old man." The death of a spirit beast within the sect was no small matter. At my reminder, the elders and hall masters discreetly kept an eye on Sylvana. Their cultivation levels were higher than mine, and they had practiced longer. Even without my input, they would have noticed Sylvana's unnatural cultivation increase. However, after that day, Sylvana remained inactive. No more spirit beasts disappeared in the sect. 2 years passed. Apart from Timothy, who still mourned his brutally murdered Flicker, most had forgotten the incident, treating it as just another strange sect legend. But a sense of unease lingered within me. I couldn't shake Victoria's words about Sylvana having the aura of a malevolent spirit beast. The inability to catch Sylvana red-handed also made me feel ashamed whenever I faced Timothy. I had requested Master Alistair to detain Sylvana, but he reasoned, "Do you think we don't know something is wrong with Sylvana? But Bakken, where's the proof? How do you explain detaining a sect spirit beast without evidence? The disciples won't accept it. If the disciples lose faith, the sect will fall apart." One night, while meditating indoors, a pair of blood-red eyes flashed past my window. Startled, I reacted quickly, pulling Victoria, who was likely napping, coiled somewhere down and chasing outside. The courtyard was silent under a crescent moon. Just a tree, a spring. I approached the spring and saw a single azure feather floating on the water's surface. A terrible premonition struck me. I immediately raced towards the back mountain. What was that damned bird planning now? I used an earth-done talisman to emerge from the ground, only to be hit head-on by a powerful wave of spiritual energy. Sylvana stood there, clad in eerie, cold azure robes that glowed unnervingly under the moonlight. Her beautiful face twisted with a cruel smile, her eyes glinting with madness. She formed hand seals and chanted, dark patterns intertwining as the protective formation around the forbidden area shattered under the energy fluctuations. The earth cracked open, the air filled with the smell of sulfur. Dust filled my ears. My body went rigid. When did Sylvana break through to this level? Beside the crumbling formation sat Ethan Shaw, quiet as a puppet. As I got a clearer look, horror washed over me. Blood streamed from Ethan's 7 orifices, his eyes wide with disbelief, dead but not at peace. Looking lower, his Dantean area was ripped open, his spirit root gone. Before I could process the shock, dark clouds gathered overhead, rumbling with thunder. There was no doubt Sylvana had harmed her master, invoking heavenly retribution. Victoria, having just woken up, stared blankly at the scene, slowly slithering off me and transforming into her human form. Sylvana, eating her own master's spirit root wasn't enough. Now she wants to destroy the sect? Sylvana turned to meet my gaze, those blood-red eyes confirming it was indeed her. She ignored Victoria, focusing on me. "Boken, you reincarnated too, didn't you?" I remained silent, watching her coldly. "What do you really want?" she continued, talking to herself. "Let me guess when you reincarnated. Boken, you were already reborn on the day of the contract ceremony, weren't you? That's why you rejected me." Her voice turned shrill. "Who gave you the audacity to reject me? Was it this mutt, this white drake? You're willing to keep such a lowly beast? You're truly blind, Boken. Just wait. I'll release the demonic beasts now. We'll start over next time. I won't give this white drake a chance." I dropped the pretense. Stop pretending to be devoted. In our past life, you and Ethan plotted for 10 years, using the entire beast-taming sect as your stepping stone. This life, I gave you the chance to stand with Ethan, yet you ripped out his spirit root to aid your own breakthrough. Heaven has eyes today. Heavenly thunder will extinguish your soul. Sylvana laughed sinisterly. Too late, I just need one final step as she spoke. Her hand reached out from behind her, completing the ritual to break the final seal. The sealed demonic beasts, sensing the imminent collapse of the formation, stirred, causing the very earth to tremble. Simultaneously, heavenly thunder cracked through the clouds, coalescing above Sylvana's head. Beams of light shot up from the peaks of the beast-taming sect. Master Alistair, sensing the breach in the back mountain seal first, rushed over. "Boken, find a way to hold back the beast tide. Your master will try to reseal them with heavenly thunder above and a demonic beast tide below." Sylvana showed no fear, her eyes wilder than ever. "Boken, you can't stop this. Come with me. Live another life. I promise I'll be devoted only to you. In my past life, I died in the jaws of demonic beasts." Facing this scene again, it was impossible not to feel fear. I formed hand seals, preparing for a desperate fight, but just then a firm hand grasped my arm. Victoria's eyes shone as she yelled at Sylvana, "You want to die and take Boken with you?" "I haven't agreed. Even the king of hell can't take him." She was right. I had Victoria. This life, I wasn't fighting alone. Victoria soared into the air, transforming into her drake form, stirring tidal waves within the dark clouds. Lightning crisscrossed the sky as a torrential downpour began. Flashes of lightning illuminated her white form, making her resemble a giant dragon clad in thunder. Her scales shimmered silver, raindrops glistening on them. I formed seals to protect her, the water droplets condensing into golden threads that wove around her body, streaking across the sky as she dived. In my past life, I never had the chance to fully utilize my skills. Cooperating with Victoria now, I truly understood that the bond between master and spirit beast wasn't just servitude. It was a partnership where you could entrust your back to each other. How could a treacherous, master-killing beast like Sylvana ever comprehend that? The heavenly thunder rumbled, like a silver spear ready to strike. Sylvana, initially confident her divine bird powers could easily suppress Victoria, paled instantly at this sight. Victoria shot towards Sylvana like a meteor. Her massive body formed a sharp cone, radiating immense, fierce power. The shock wave she generated churned the dark clouds into a vortex. When this piercing force struck Sylvana, the air trembled. Thunder roared, wind howled, rain lashed down. Sylvana's defensive posture instantly crumbled. She hung limply, unable to move. She finally realized that this life, I wouldn't die by demonic beasts as she wished. She went berserk. No, this is wrong. You have to die. We have to die together. I stopped chanting. Victoria flashed back to my side, giving Sylvana a mocking smile. Sylvana stared, bewildered, as I raised my index finger, pointed at the sky, and said with a smile, "Goodbye forever." A bolt of lightning as thick as a well mouth struck Sylvana. She didn't even have time to scream before she was obliterated, just like Flicker, the three-tailed fox. Heavenly retribution ensured that the punished soul does not enter the cycle of reincarnation. True death, body and soul. She would have no afterlife. Victoria leaned against a tree, grinning, about to ask for a reward, when she suddenly looked startled, staring deep into the forbidden forest. Master Alistair and the Elder's repair efforts were far outpaced by the speed at which the seals were breaking. A cold, sinister aura unique to demonic beasts began to spread. "What's in there?" she asked. "Ignis." "The candle dragon," I replied. Ignis the candle dragon had been sealed here by the previous sect leader who sacrificed himself in the process. Now, after slumbering for centuries, Ignis was likely filled with rage, waiting only for the seal to break completely to raise the beast-taming sect. A flicker of shock crossed Victoria's eyes. Then, taking a deep breath, her expression turned resolute. "Wait for me outside. I have to go in." As she turned to leave, I caught her hand. "I'm going with you." Victoria looked back, stunned. She frowned, trying to explain. "Balkan, it's very dangerous inside." "I know," I said. "I died here in my past life." Watched helplessly as Sylvana protected Ethan and left me to be torn apart and devoured by demonic beasts. "So, I won't abandon you." Like a gust of wind, Victoria and I slipped through the shattered seal. The wind howled in my ears. Faintly, I heard voices behind us. "Wow, who's badass enough to go straight in?" "Old muddlehead, that's your disciple." My disciple is truly badass. Deep within the forbidden forest, miasma hung thick in the air. Countless pairs of eyes watched us the moment we entered. Victoria was no longer the little drake clinging to my arm. Now she unfurled gracefully in the air, her form elegant, her presence powerful yet gentle, like a dancing breeze. The demonic beasts, though having lost their sanity, instinctively held back from attacking us immediately. Lying on her back, I whispered, "What are you looking for?" Her cultivation had advanced again. She could speak human language even in her drake form. "Ignis." My eyes rolled back. I nearly fainted. Cursed me for not asking questions before following her straight into hell mode. But then she said, "Boken, I smell my mother's aura in the forbidden forest." I had always assumed Victoria was a mix of flood dragon and mermaid. Victoria had been secretive about it, so I hadn't pressed. Only now did I learn that while she did have flood dragon blood, her mother was a genuine divine beast Ignis, the candle dragon. No wonder she fought so fiercely and sang so terribly. Victoria explained that her mother, though hot-tempered, wasn't inherently evil, but 200 years ago, a malevolent demonic beast ripped out her father's beast core. Consumed by grief, her mother couldn't overcome her inner demons and fell into the demonic path. I didn't know how to comfort her, only managing to gently pat her head. Besides, the current situation wasn't exactly conducive to heartwarming conversations. The nearby demonic beasts were growing restless. They wanted to devour us, then break through the barrier. Victoria set me down on the ground, then coiled around me protectively. She rose sinuously, body arching high, head slightly raised, golden eyes glinting with vigilance. Her scales trembled. She was poised to strike. Balkshan, if we can't hold them off later, I'll throw you towards the exit. I'll hold them back. Don't look back. You must run. Hearing her say that, my fear lessened. If what Sylvana said was true, that dying to demonic beasts could grant me another life, it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Victoria, you said I could only have you as my spirit beast. I feel the same way. If you don't want to watch these beasts eat me, then fight with all your might to keep me alive. The demonic beasts, long corrupted by demonic energy, had lost their original forms. Even with our coordinated efforts, we couldn't withstand the sheer numbers of the beast tide. They attacked relentlessly, fearlessly. If a leg was severed, they crawled with their arms. If arms were lost, they writhed forward with their mangled bodies. Our space grew increasingly constricted. Demonic energy thickened and coalesced in the air. Waves upon waves of beasts surged towards us. Enemy blood splattered across Victoria's body. Countless beasts latched onto her, attacking ferociously. I chanted spells, standing on her back, trying my best to repel any beast that tried to bite or climb onto her. However, my spiritual power gradually depleted, and the battle turned against us. Wounds multiplied on my body. The fog formed by materialized demonic energy blurred my vision. Victoria's injuries grew severe, but she persisted, coiling around me protectively once more. Her voice filled with sorrow and regret, she cried, "It's my fault. I wanted too badly to see her." Suddenly, a pair of enormous crimson eyes appeared in the dense fog, radiating boundless fury and destructive power. The air seemed to freeze. The demonic beasts, moments ago attacking frantically, now stood motionless, silent, as if petrified. The giant red eyes stared at us, emitting an indescribable pressure, the palpable shadow of death descending. All living creatures trembled instinctively. The demonic beasts were no exception. Screeching in terror, they abandoned their attack and began scattering frantically, desperate to escape the fear-drenched territory, to flee the death represented by those crimson eyes. A great unease rose in my heart. Pointing at the eyes, I asked, "Is that her?" Legends described candle dragons as ancient divine dragons with human faces and serpent bodies. Victoria's mother clearly didn't quite match the first divine dragon of legend. She was mountainously large. As she breathed, the fog dispersed, revealing a vaguely human facial structure, but covered in dragon scales, like a mask. We're doomed, I thought. Facing a dragon of this caliber, my options were death or death in pieces. Seeing living beings, Ignis instinctively opened her maw to bite. I wanted to run, but I couldn't move. In my 2 lifetimes, I had only known Sylvana possessed divine bird blood. Everyone talked about how powerful divine races were, living as long as heaven and earth, capable of moving mountains and filling seas. But I had never seen one, not just me. Even the sect elders said spirit beasts with divine bloodlines were extremely rare, let alone a true member of a divine race. Sylvana, though a divine bird, was merely a hatchling compared to the legendary Azure Phoenix. Therefore, facing Ignis, fear flooded every fiber of my being, paralyzing me. It was an innate terror before overwhelming power. Ignis didn't bite down. Victoria threw herself in front of me, shouting, "Mother, don't hurt him." The massive jaws halted mid-air. Ignis took 2 steps back, the ground trembling beneath her movement. Suddenly she began panting rapidly, shaking her head violently, seemingly in great pain. Victoria moved closer. She wasn't even half the size of Ignis's head, yet Ignis recoiled as if terrified. "It's me," Ignis suddenly spoke with a human voice. "Little Yun." Little Yun, the sound echoed through the valley, silencing the beasts with fear. The crimson in Ignis's eyes gradually receded, revealing the same golden hue as Victoria's. But before she could speak further, the red surged back like a tide. After several cycles, Ignis gritted her teeth. "Little Yun, kill me." Ignis spat out her inner beast core, gesturing for Victoria to crush it. Victoria caught the core, but her hands, strong enough to shatter boulders, couldn't crush the small object. She looked at Ignis, pleading in her eyes. "I can't." Ignis fought with all her might against the demonic influence for control of her body. She couldn't hold on much longer. The beast core flew from Victoria's hand and landed before me. "Good child," she said, "you do it." I caught the core, utterly bewildered. Logic told me Ignis was beyond saving, that releasing her was the kindest act. Emotion screamed that this was Victoria's mother. To make matters worse, stimulated by the core's energy, the spiritual power within me surged, threatening a breakthrough. Power rampaged through my body. I had to decide quickly. Suddenly, my hand felt heavy. Victoria's hand covered mine. It was the first time I'd seen her cry. She looked at Ignis. "Goodbye, Mother." The candle dragon's beast core shattered in my hand. Ignis sighed in relief. I can finally rest in peace. Above me, the sky rumbled with muffled thunder, vast enough to strike down 10 Sylvanas. The entire forbidden forest was enveloped in the tribulation lightning. Tears welled up. "Victoria, I think I'm screwed." She grasped my hand tightly, standing before me. "I brought you in. I'll risk my life to get you out." Thunder exploded beside my ear. I tried to circulate my spiritual power to resist the heavenly lightning, but discovered that while the tribulation was loud, the bolts weren't actually striking me. Looking up, I saw that although Ignis's core was shattered, its immense spiritual energy couldn't dissipate instantly. It swirled above us. Compared to the candle dragon's power, the nascent soul tribulation lightning felt like mere tickles. Of course, this surge of energy also attracted numerous demonic beasts, waiting for me to fail my tribulation so they could fight over the spoils. Who knew, unable to strike me, the tribulation lightning acted like a petulant child. Fine, I have to strike something before I leave, and so, it fell squarely upon the demonic beasts. After 36 bolts of heavenly thunder, the dark clouds dispersed, revealing rosy dawn clouds across the sky. Victoria and I walked out of the forbidden forest unscathed. Our commotion inside had bought Master Alistair and the others ample time to reinforce the seals. Within a month, the entire cultivation world knew. The beast-taming sect had produced a genius cultivator. This was largely thanks to my scrap-collecting third martial uncle, Barnaby Thorne.
My martial nephew?
Oh yeah, amazing one person, one dragon, charged straight into the forbidden forest, you know.
Oh my. Not only did he grant peace to the candle dragon, he even underwent a tribulation inside Awesome, right?
He's only 200-something years old. Does your sect have a 200-something nascent soul cultivator? Hey, why are you closing the gate? Don't you want those medicinal dregs by the entrance? If not, I'll take them. Meanwhile, Master Alistair held my hand, ignoring Victoria's fiery glare, and rambled, "Bochin, seeing you so favored by the heavens, your master can rest easy. Your master's great tribulation is near. We all feel you are perfectly suited for the position of sect leader. After your master ascends, you shall lead the beast-taming sect towards a bright future." As he finished, the elders applauded. I deadpanned, shattering his illusion, "Old man. You've been wanting to dump this responsibility for ages, haven't you?" Master Alistair pretended not to hear and grabbed Victoria's hand. "This disciple of mine, he has a good heart, a bit stubborn. You're fortunate to have him. I hereby appoint you Grand General of the Beast Caretaker Hall, with command over all spirit beasts. Therein the future of the beast taming sect rests on your shoulders." The elders applauded again. Master Alistair successfully ascended. The entire cultivation world then learned the beast-taming sect had produced an immortal. On the day of his ascension, I truly understood the meaning of when one person achieves the Tao, even their chickens and dogs ascend to heaven. It should have been a scene of etherealxian chi piao piao xianqi piao piao, immortal aura. But Master Alistair looked like an old shepherd herding his flock of cats, dogs, and sheep through the heavenly gate. The majestic gate suddenly resembled a simple fence. Even the gatekeeping heavenly general looked rather down to earth, especially with what looked suspiciously like a thunderbolt hamster squatting on his head. As the heavenly general hastily closed the gate, I sighed. The future of our beast-taming sect was certainly going to be interesting. After Master Alistair's ascension, the number of rogue cultivators seeking refuge in the beast-taming sect skyrocketed. Uncle Barnaby no longer needed to wander around picking up scraps. Every day he'd lead a few homeless spirit beasts back from the mountain gate. My administrative duties faced unprecedented challenges. No wonder none of the elders wanted the sect leader position. How does one cultivate virtue? By mentally cursing one's master 3 times a day. Still, there were benefits. Mortals, hearing the beast-taming sect had an immortal, naturally considered us highly reliable. The sect often received commissions with very generous rewards. For instance, a mirror of ages that could reveal past lives. I was quite curious about what my past life would show. It turned out to be the scene after my death. After I died in the jaws of demonic beasts in my past life, Ignis awoke and tore through the entire seal. Emerging from the forbidden forest, she seemed to sense something and headed straight for the spirit beast burial ground. With one swipe of her claw, she dug up a small set of drake bones from the earth. This time, Ignis fully succumbed to her demonic nature, becoming completely corrupted. She killed gods and Buddhas alike. The beast-taming sect burned for 3 days and nights. Master Alistair tried to emulate the previous sect leader, sacrificing himself to seal Ignis. But when the previous sect leader sealed her, Ignis still possessed a sliver of reason. Now, Ignis was utterly mad. Master Alistair, not yet an immortal, was no match for her. Master Alistair, the elders, and the 100-odd disciples of the beast-taming sect, none survived. Victoria, in her past life, had already contracted with Ethan before her death. Ignis caught Ethan's scent from her drake bones. As Sylvana and Ethan fled, they were struck by a beam of dark fire. Ignoring Ethan's desperate pleas, Sylvana threw him directly towards Ignis. Ethan was swallowed alive by the candle dragon. That wasn't enough. Ignis, having lost all reason, saw Sylvana, with her pure divine bird bloodline, as nothing more than a flying delicacy. Sylvana couldn't escape. Even the feathers she shed while struggling were snatched up by the demonic beasts on the ground. Seeing the end of Sylvana and Ethan in the previous life, I found, surprisingly, no triumphant feeling of vengeance fulfilled. Instead, I felt grateful for reincarnating early enough this time to change fate. Which cultivator doesn't dream of saving the world? Fortunately, I chose Victoria this life. Fortunately, Ignis retained a sliver of reason. Fortunately, everyone was still here. Suddenly, my body felt light. The mirror of ages in my hand was tossed aside by Victoria. I've reheated the wine 3 times already. What are you doing? The moonlight was perfect. The peach blossoms by the spring had blushed crimson.